My name is Christanna Colomb, and this is my Unit 8 checkpoint draft for my teaching plan. This teaching plan focuses on teaching the learner to receptively identify the descriptive adjectives rough, soft, and sticky. The teaching method selected is discrete trial teaching, or also known as DTT. It will be used because it provides repeated opportunities for the learner to practice and build a skill. During instruction, the learner will be presented with three 2D stimulus images and given a verbal instruction or a discriminative stimulus to touch the correct image. The materials needed for this teaching plan include three 2D stimulus images of sticky, rough, and soft, and a preferred reinforcer, and we'll also be using behavior specific praise and a trial by trial data collection sheet along with a writing utensil. The teaching procedure begins by gaining the learner's attention to help ensure that they are ready to participate before instruction begins. Next, the three 2D stimulus images representing rough, soft, and sticky are going to be presented. The placement of the images is then changed throughout the teaching so that the learner is responding to the correct descriptive adjective instead of just memorizing where the correct answer is located. Geiger et al. Found that varying the position of the stimulus helps promote stimulus control and it reduces position bias. A clear discriminative stimulus, such as touch rough, is then presented, and the learner is given up to 7 seconds to respond independently before any prompting is provided to them. If the learner responds correctly, immediate behavior specific praise along with a preferred reinforcer is delivered to strengthen the correct response. Lerman et al. Notes that immediate reinforcement helps increase the likelihood that the correct response will occur again in the future. If the learner responds incorrectly or does not respond within the 7 seconds given to them, the error correction procedure is implemented using a least to most prompting hierarchy before representing the trial. Ikes et al. Emphasizes that providing repeated opportunities to practice the skill through error correction supports continued learning and skill acquisition. If the learner responds correctly, immediate behavior specific praise along with a preferred reinforcer is provided. If the learner responds incorrectly or does not respond within 7 seconds, the error correction procedure is implemented using the least to most prompting hierarchy. This will first begin with a gesture prompt, followed by a model prompt, partial physical prompt, and then it would move to a full physical prompt if necessary. Once the learner responds correctly with the appropriate level of prompting, the trial is represented to provide another opportunity for an independent correct response. Trial by trial data will be collected throughout each teaching session to monitor the learner's progress. A check mark will be used to record independent correct responses, and an X will represent incorrect responses. If there is a X and a P, that will indicate that there's a response that required prompting, but it is still considered incorrect. Prompted responses are recorded separately because the goal is for the learner to respond independently. The data collected during each session will be used to monitor progress over time and also determine when the learner has met the mastery of 90% independent correct responses across 4 teaching sessions. The data collected during each session can be graphed to show how the learner is progressing over time. The sample graph on the screen shows the learner's progress across 4 teaching sessions. Independent correct responses increased from 60% during the first session to 90% by the 4th session. Independent correct responses increased from 60% during the first session to 90% by the time the 4th session occurred. The upward trend suggests that the learner is becoming more independent in receptively identifying rough, soft, and sticky. If this progress was to continue, the learner would be expected to meet the mastery criteria of 90% independent correct responses across 4 teaching sessions.